Welcome back to Fantasy Booking Warfare. Last week saw Ollie Davis and a bloated Bobby Lashley take down Sat E Nyangi in the battle of the best booked Hurt Business reunion and advance to the semi-final of our tournament to crown the least terrible booker of fantasy wrestling. Now, along with our highly qualified panel of judges, we will learn who will join Ollie in the next round as Luke Owen and Dan Layton book the retirement of Triple H.
I'm Dave Bradshaw, and for the past 15 years I've been a play-by-play commentator in British and European wrestling.
Off the top, missile dropkick! Can he get it? Yes, he can! He's the champion of the world!
I am the master of the half crab, the current reigning undisputed British heavyweight champion, Michael Oku, and who better to tell you how bad things are booked than me.
I'm Nina Samuels, star of the Nina Samuels Show, and here on Wrestle Talk, because of course Wrestle Talk needs more Nina.
Today on Fantasy Booking Warfare, the scenario is Triple H's retirement.
Okay.
And two wannabe bookers are going to tell us how they would do it. First up is Dan Layton.
Ready.
We'll have a
Let's
look
go.
at what Dan would have done.
Our story begins the night after WrestleMania 39, where Triple H comes out to address the WWE Universe, tell us that everything's fine, and to congratulate the still WWE champ, Roman Reigns. As he's heading back up the entrance ramp, Roman's on his way down, they shake hands, and Triple H whispers something in his ear. Congratulations, perhaps, or something else. Later that night, Brock Lesnar turns on Cody Rhodes and leaves him laying in the ring. Now, this feud plays out pretty much as it did on TV, with one small exception. Lesnar explicitly states that the reason he picked a fight with Cody Rhodes at all is for a big, healthy paycheck. It's not personal, it's just good business. Which leads us to now. Having finally slayed the beast, Cody Rhodes turns his attention once again to finishing the story. He negotiates a move over to SmackDown and sets his sights on Roman Reigns. He cuts a fire promo about how everyone in the world knows that that match was his, even and especially the tribal chief. But lately he's been looking more like a chief without a tribe, so it's time to do the right thing and give Cody his rematch. Out comes Paul Heyman, who says, sorry Cody, Roman's not taking bookings right now, and you actually already punched your ticket, so you need to head to the back of the line. And oh, just by the way, for you and everyone else in the world, here's a reminder of what actually happened at WrestleMania. And he points over Cody's shoulder. Cody turns around, bam, into a Samoan spike. Incensed, Cody Rhodes seeks out Adam Pearce and insists on a match with Solo that very evening. But Solo's already been sent home, says Adam. That's fine, says Cody. Get on the phone and make Roman Reigns come to work. Cody, says Adam, even I don't have that kind of authority, but I tell you what, I will give you a match with Solo Sikoa at Fastlane. And over the next few weeks, the tension between Solo and Cody builds so much that we get to a no-holds-barred match at Fastlane. It is an absolute brutal brawl, and Cody comes out on top. The next week, Cody actually puts Solo over. He says that if anyone had any doubts, there is proof positive that Solo has all that it takes to usurp his cousin as the head of the table. And speaking as one younger brother to another, he knows that waiting in line for your opportunity is just about the worst thing that you can do. And speaking of, he's tired of waiting, and so is the WWE Universe. They want to see him get what is rightfully his, but once again, he is interrupted, this time by Bobby Lashley, flanked by the Street Profits. Hey now, Cody, a lot of us have been waiting a long time to get our hands on that gold, says Bobby, and you might remember that I actually didn't lose that belt. In fact, between the two of us, you're the only one whose shoulders have been on the mat for 3. But you know me, Cody, I'm a guy who respects the hustle, so how about you and me do some good business together? How about in Saudi Arabia, it's you versus me, and whoever wins gets to be front of the line. He extends his hand, Cody goes to take it, but as he does, yank! Lashley grabs him and puts him in the hurt lock. Officials come down to try and break things up, but the Street Profits are there to take them all out, and Bobby wraps his legs around Cody's waist to squeeze there as well. Absolutely, I guess just squeezing the life straight out of Cody Rhodes, who passes out in the middle of the ring. They have scuffles over the next few weeks, and it all builds to the number one contender's submission match at Crown Jewel. Now, Cody is not known for his submission maneuvers, and he's already passed out to the hurt lock, so the question is, how will he overcome the Almighty? It's another absolute brawl, and this time Cody focuses in on Bobby's arm, ostensibly to stop him having the power to actually lock in the hurt lock properly. And it does work. At one point, Bobby catches Cody by surprise and tries to put him in the hurt lock, but his arm just isn't powerful enough to get underneath Cody's arm. So Cody's able to break free, push Bobby back into the turnbuckle, into that bad arm, and it's on the recoil that Cody pounces and locks in the Kimura lock. Brock Lesnar's Kimura lock is what makes Bobby Lashley tap out and give Cody the win. We're back on SmackDown, out comes Cody, mic in hand. No more excuses, Roman. In 2 weeks' time, we're gonna be at Survivor Series in a town very close to my heart. So why don't you stop being a little pussy and get your ass in the ring and fight me in Chicago? Probably a little bit less like camp, but I can only be me, you know? He slams the mic down and starts pacing back and forth, and the music hits, and out comes Triple H. Cody, Roman's not here tonight. Massive boos around the arena, but massive cheers around the arena. You've really proven yourself to me. I'm proud of you, kid. You get your match at Survivor Series. So let's fast travel a couple of weeks to Survivor Series. It's Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes in Chicago, Illinois. It's a straight singles match, no gimmicks, just the two top stars in the company one-on-one for the richest prize in the game. It's all come down to this. It has a big fight feel, and Chicago is the third man. Every time Roman gets the upper hand, the boos rain on down. Whenever Cody mounts a comeback, those cheers light up and blow the roof off the place. Cody Cutter, disaster kick. At one point, he manages to hit a heat seeker for a Roman 2.9 kick out, and the crowd comes unglued. But as Roman manages to mount a comeback of his own, he cues up the spear, only for Cody to move, and Roman crashes right through the ref, who lands in the corner of the ring. Cody's a fighter, so he goes right back to work, but Roman throws him off and manages to land a Superman punch. Sensing danger, he goes over and motions to Solo to grab a chair. Solo goes to the timekeeper's area to do just that, but he's stopped by Triple H, who grabs the chair off Solo, drops it on the floor, and orders Solo to leave the arena. A furious Solo does walk out of the arena, and Triple H turns around to tend to the ref, who is currently lying prone in the corner of the ring, and Roman is incensed and starts screaming, angrily yelling down at him. At one point, though, he does turn around into a picture-perfect disaster kick from Cody Rhodes. Now is his time. Cody grabs Roman and hits the crossroads. He picks him up again and hits a second. As he finally twists and lands a third crossroads, he hauls Roman's body over and covers just in time for a second ref to slide into the ring and count the three. The bell rings. The crowd goes wild. Kingdom rings all around the arena. Here is your winner and the new WWE champion, Cody Rhodes. Cody goes to reach for the belt to get his hands on it. Finally, what he's been waiting for all these years. There's just one problem. Outside the ring, the two refs are having a bit of a disagreement. Cody slips to the outside, but Triple H is there pulling his grave face, you know the one, and he nods. And on that cue, the ring announcer says, "Ladies and gentlemen, the registered official has informed me that this match ended in disqualification. As a result, the winner of the match, Cody Rhodes, but still your WWE champion, Roman Reigns." That's right, bitch. It's a dusty finish. When Cody realizes what's happened, he grabs Solo's chair and heads back into the ring and starts absolutely crashing it down on Roman. 8 months of frustration just come pouring out of him in the form of chair shots. Solo comes back in the ring to try and save Roman, but Cody just starts battering him as well. Eventually, Roman and Solo finally manage to make it clear of the ring, and Cody feels a hand on his shoulder. He turns around, lifts the chair, and sees Triple H. Hunter holds his hands up and tells him to stop. Cody lowers the chair, but looks in Triple H's face and says, I had him, you saw it, we all saw it, I did it. Triple H says, I know, but it's over. Utterly defeated, Cody turns around and goes to leave the ring, but he's pulled back around again and nailed with a pedigree. On that Monday's Raw, Triple H comes out to tell the arena that Cody Rhodes has been suspended for his actions for 60 days without pay. But actually, Triple H is kind of glad that it happened because it explains why he's had to undergo the course of action he has over the past 8 months. You see, Cody Rhodes is undeniable, but he's also unreliable. Cody has a short fuse, and we can't have somebody like that leading and being the figurehead of this company. And that's why Triple H has been doing what's best for business. Best for business was paying Brock Lesnar to take Cody Rhodes out. Best for business was paying Bobby Lashley to tear his pec all over again. And when neither of those managed to get the job done, best for business became Triple H taking matters into his own hands. And he points up to the screen, and we see a still photo from the night before where he's ordering the ref to call for for a disqualification. So Cody, he says, enjoy this rest. Use it as a time to reflect. See if you can figure out how to be a cog in this machine, because if you can't be a company guy, well, I'm gonna have 2 words for you. You're fired. 60 days takes us to the Royal Rumble, where entering at lucky number 27 comes the American Nightmare to a thunderous ovation. He makes it to the final 2, where standing opposite him is a certain Ring General. They have a redo of last year, only this time it's Gunther that gets the win, and he will go on to challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship. On SmackDown, out comes Cody back to cut a promo to explain that he has had a lot of time to think, and he's realized that he can be a company guy. He's ready to be the person that leads the WWE. He's noticed that since Gunther is going after the World Heavyweight Championship, Roman doesn't have an opponent for WrestleMania, so he asks Triple H to come out and give him that 3rd and final chance. Hunter says, I'm glad you've seen the light and you want to be a company guy. I just need to know that I can trust you. I already have a man in mind for Roman at WrestleMania, but I tell you what, if you can beat every guy I put in front of you over the next couple of weeks, and then you manage to get the win over my guy at Elimination Chamber, we'll see. And Cody does just that against Finn Balor, against Kevin Owens, and just about manages to put away Sami Zayn. It's Elimination Chamber. It's the night. Cody's waiting in the ring, the music hits, I hear voices in my head, out comes Randy Orton. I'm running over time, so just trust me, the match is really good and Cody wins. Triple H comes out all smiles, gives the thumbs up, which becomes the thumbs down, and he nails Cody with another pedigree. On Raw this time, Cody hijacks the show, pacing the ring with a chair in one hand and a microphone in the other, demanding that Triple H comes out. Hunter obliges, comes out and he says, Cody, I'm here. What do you want to talk about? Well, Cody stares him dead in the eye and says, I want my match at Mania. Triple H laughs and says, you just can't do that. You see, here's that temper all over again. Clearly, you've learned nothing in, at this point, about a decade. Listen, when Roman Reigns leaves for his sabbaticals, he's not holding the company for ransom. No, he's just going for a little rest on his island of relevancy, which he's earned as a champion for as long as he's been champion. As a 14-time world champion myself, I know the pressure that comes with it. Cody, on the other hand, Cody can't hack it. And it's that short fuse that's led him to pick up his ball and leave a company twice. How can Triple H trust that that won't happen all over again? He says it's one thing to dream about becoming a champion, it's a whole other ballgame to actually live as a champion, and Cody just can't handle the pressure. You want to talk to me about pressure, says Cody? Well, I didn't leave to escape pressure. I left WWE to find it. You see, Hunter, we're not so different. We both love this business. This business is our everything, but I have one thing you never had. Faith in myself. My faith led me to strike out on my own and revolutionize this whole industry because I wouldn't take no for an answer. Meanwhile, your insecurity has led you to betray every friend you've ever had and marry your way to power. Look me in the eyes, because you know deep down you could never have done what I did. You don't have the balls. You go around telling everybody you're that damn good, but you don't even believe it yourself. Cody takes a second and looks down. I believed it once. In fact, I always looked up to you, but you've shown me who you really are. I used to think that there was nothing in this world I wanted more than the WWE Championship, but it turns out I was wrong, because the match I want at WrestleMania is you. One-on-one, Cody Rhodes versus Triple H, and I'll even sweeten the deal for you. If I don't manage to win, you can put your own guy in as the #1 contender, and I'll pick up my ball one more time and walk away, and you'll never have to deal with the Cody Rhodes problem. But if I win, I get to challenge for the WWE Championship the very next night in the main event of WrestleMania Sunday, and you have to retire. So come on, Hunter, put your money where your mouth is. Prove I am who you say I am. Have some faith in yourself for once in your goddamn life. Triple H is sweating with rage, a little bit like myself. He's taken off his jacket, he's rolled up his sleeves, and he charges down to the ring. He gets right in Cody's face, and he says, you're on. And then they hockey fight, and it's sick. And that brings us to WrestleMania Night 1. Gunther is main eventing to win the World Heavyweight Championship. Incidentally, someone needs to put some credence on that belt. And so that means this match is going on first, and it's a battle for the ages. Cody Rhodes, undesirable to undeniable against the game, Triple H. And it's everything you would want it to be. It's Dusty versus Ric Flair, but with decades of new experience added in. They've hit each other with everything. They've traded figure 4 leg locks. Hunter is kicked out of the heat seeker. Cody's kicked out of a pedigree from the top rope, maybe a little bit too far. I think go for it. It's WrestleMania. And in the meantime, it's crucial to know this, Hunter is bleeding. As he walks around the ring, as he hits knee strikes, as he goes for his classic offense, he's looking shaky on his feet. The King of Kings is weathered. Ducking a high knee strike, Cody turns around and manages to get Hunter in a reverse facelock and hits the crossroads for the cover. And Hunter kicks out. The pair of them are exhausted. Both men make it back to opposing corners and have to use the ropes to climb their way back up to their feet and meet once again in the middle of the ring. Cody reaches under his arm and wipes Triple H's blood across his chest. Hunter stares in his eyes, raises his hands, and crotch chops, just leaving enough space for Cody Rhodes to kick him in the midsection, hook his arms, and hit him with a pedigree for the 1, 2, 3. As Cody gets to his feet and has his hand raised in the air, he looks down to see Triple H has made his way to sit in the corner and is staring back at him through that crimson mask. He looks over and he says, "I'm sorry. I love you." And the next night, he goes on and wins the WWE Championship and everything's fine.
That was quite an emotional roller coaster.
Wow.
Overall, I feel pretty positive about this. As things were playing out, there was lots of attention to detail where I was like, oh, okay. I was surprised. Some bits I could see coming, but some bits were left field a good way. I think overall, I feel pretty good about this one.
Yeah, I think there were moments where I was like, you haven't addressed this, and then he addresses it. He found a way, which is tough, to create the two stories of two matches that the fan want to see of Cody versus Triple H, as well as Cody and Roman.
I mean, there are obvious mirrors here with WrestleMania 30.
Absolutely.
With Daniel Bryan. The other thing for me is Gunther wins the Royal Rumble and doesn't challenge Roman Reigns.
100%.
That's not the Gunther that I know, and I cannot see how he would possibly not pick Roman Reigns.
Exactly.
The whole thing is quite derivative. Like, basically, that whole thing at Survivor Series where Cody... I mean, I like the Dusty Finish part and all that kind of stuff.
It's copying the homework, hoping that enough time's gone past, people have forgotten
That
the
is
original
not-
homework. But wrestling fans don't forget.
They don't.
Even up to
Wrestling fans don't
WrestleMania, because, like, as we said, it was, Triple H versus Daniel Bryan,
Yeah, exactly.
then gets through to the final, It's basically the same thing.
I don't know how much we can buy into being that Cody Rhodes is not a company guy. I mean, to me, from
Right.
what I see,
Right.
he is very much, he's like the epitome of the company guy.
Is this Cody Rhodes story more than it's Triple H's?
It 100% is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine if they did do it that way. But it's all about Triple H again.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a
Or
response.
maybe he'd love that. Maybe
Yeah.
he would. Maybe just one last title reign. We've heard Cody be really like to tears about people kind of looking at Dusty as a father figure. I think there could have been something more to play there if they wanted to go for conflict.
So pretty good, but we've
Yeah,
managed
pretty
to...
good, but we definitely found some.
We found some flaws, but it was a solid effort, I think, which means
Very well
that
delivered as well. I was very invested.
Luke Owen has a lot to live up to. So what we're going to do now is have a look
Yeah.
and see how Luke's booked this.
Okay, so for my booking to work, we need to ignore that Triple H retired because otherwise I can't have him wrestle and I need him to do that for my story to work. But some of our story is the same as to what happened IRL. Triple H unveils the new World Heavyweight Championship and Seth Rollins wins the tournament to become the first champ. But when Triple H hands him the belt at Night of Champions, Seth waffles him with it and turns heel in the process. He hits him again with the belt and gives him a pedigree and a stomp onto it twice. Triple H is stretchered out of the building. The following night on Raw, Seth explained that in his mind, Triple H shouldn't have done a tournament. He should have just handed Seth the belt like he handed himself the same title in 2004. He should have handed him the title just like he should have handed him the Universal Championship in 2017. Have we all forgotten what happened in that match? Seth rolls that clip of Triple H giving him the pedigree on the outside of the ring, which handed Kevin Owens the win so he could become the new Universal Champion. This brings out Seth Rollins' first challenger for the belt, a returning Johnny Gargano, who Seth beats at Money in the Bank. And that brings us to where we were in real life. Finn Balor is Seth's next challenger for the belt at SummerSlam, only this time Judgment Day are the baby faces in our story, but there's still that dissension in their ranks. At SummerSlam, Seth Rollins beats Finn by hooking the tights. The following night on Raw, Adam Pearce orders a rematch and Seth beats him again by hooking the tights. Damian Priest announces that he's cashing in his Money in the Bank contract, and Seth tries to sneak win by hooking the tights, but out comes Cody Rhodes, who looks like he has all the intentions of stopping this hooking the tights nonsense until he hits a recovering Balor with a chair and hits Priest as well. Seth wins and a new alliance is formed. The following week, Cody explains that Seth is a true visionary because he saw something that he hadn't really noticed because he's been so focused on Brock Lesnar. He came back to WWE because he wanted to win the WWE Championship, the belt this company took away from his father, and now they've discontinued that belt, which means they've taken it from his father and now they've taken it away from Cody Rhodes too. At Payback, it's Seth and Cody versus Balor and Priest, which the baddies win when a mysterious stranger in a motorcycle helmet attacks Balor, giving him a spear. Cody pins Balor and the motorcycle helmet is removed to find that the third head of this Hydra is Edge. At Fastlane, it's a trios match of Cody, Edge, and Seth taking on the Judgment Day, and the stipulation is if Judgment Day cannot beat this group, they will have to disband forever. And it's looking like Priest has the match won when he's hit Seth with the Razor's Edge, but a shotgun dropkick from Finn Balor, followed by a coup de grace, gives our bad guys yet another win. The Judgment Day, betrayed by their own Finn Balor, must now break up. Dom and Rhea go their own separate ways, and Priest is gutted. On the following Raw, Balor explains that he only did what he did because Priest was planning the same thing. Did you notice how Priest wasn't stopping Seth from cheating in his title matches? And that's because Priest wanted to win the title for himself. But now Balor, he's got true friends, true visionaries who can see that wrestling needs saving, just like a visionary group did 30 years ago. Cody says that his father spent years trying to get rid of them, but even he saw that if you can't beat them, you need to join them. You can call us the New World Order of professional wrestling, brother. The following week, Damian Priest interrupts a promo from the NWO who says that he wants a match to show this group aren't as clever or as big as they think they are. Rollins, laughing, tells him that Priest is a few teammates short there. Priest says that Seth is right, but it was their words about great factions last week that made him pick up the phone and make a call to a guy who knows a thing or two about dominating factions in wrestling. Triple H makes his return, coming back from being injured by Seth in June, who reminds us all of his track record with groups. He created D-Generation X, who changed the landscape of this company. They even took the fight straight to WCW and scared Cody's dad. Seth may have been the architect of the Shield, but it was Triple H pulling the strings behind the scenes. He even created the ultimate faction called NXT that shook up the main roster of WWE. But there was one other faction that dominated this brand for years. Batista's music hits and out comes Big Dave, but he does not walk alone. Ric Flair's music walks and the Nature Boy struts out once more. And finally, I hear voices in my head as Randy Orton comes down. The Viper returns to WWE for the first time since May 2022, and Evolution stand tall once again. While stunned, the NWO accept the challenge for Survivor Series in a traditional 4-on-4 match. Evolution, with their newest member Damian Priest, versus the NWO of Cody, Seth, Edge, and Balor. Triple H thinks this is a good idea, but he's got a better one. And really there's only one man and two words who can do this idea justice. And out walks William Regal, who bellows, "War Games!" At Survivor Series, it's Evolution that stand tall over the NWO, and this gives all the momentum for Damian Priest to win the Royal Rumble and beat Seth Rollins for the world title at WrestleMania. On that same show, Triple H takes on Cody Rhodes with an entrance where Cody recreates the double or nothing throne smash and, Trips wins, of course, and Orton and Batista take on Edge and Balor for the tag titles earlier in the night. The whole of WrestleMania is built around Evolution versus the NWO. Seth, furious about losing the title, blames Triple H for his loss and now vows to destroy his career. And he's going to use the full strength of the NWO to do this. And if you think this group is just 4 guys? Then you don't know your history very well. The following week, the group, complete with a new mystery man, all attack Batista as he's entering the building and send him to the hospital. It's Backlash 2024 and it's once again coming to you from Puerto Rico. Seth Rollins defeats Triple H with the help of that mystery man, and in the main event, Damian Priest defends the World Heavyweight Championship against Cody Rhodes. Priest has the match won with the razor's edge, but a mystery man gets in the ring, that mystery man, and squares up to Damian Priest. Damian goes to give him a clothesline, but the man ducks and hits an RKO. Cody Rhodes wins, and the mystery man is revealed to be Randy Orton, who has turned his back on Evolution. Despite help from Triple H and Flair, the NWO send Damian Priest to the hospital in front of his family. On Raw, Cody holds aloft the World Heavyweight Championship, but puts it in the trash. He tells the crowd this belt doesn't mean anything. It was made as a consolation prize for losers who couldn't beat Roman Reigns. But I could have beaten Roman Reigns, and I would have beaten Roman Reigns if I'd have had the help of the NWO nullifying the interference from the bloodline. And when I would have won, I would have done this. And from a bag, pulls out the Winged Eagle Championship belt design and declares himself the WWE Champion and spray paints the NWO logo over it. Orton explains that Triple H talked a lot about groups that dominated Raw, but he forgot that without him, there wouldn't be an Evolution. And besides, Triple H turned his back on Orton the first chance he got so he could play up to his favorite Batista. Not only that, when he was listing off dominating factions, he forgot about Legacy and he hugs Cody Rhodes, and he forgot about Rated RKO and he hugs Edge. Now, with no Evolution, there is no one that can stop the NWO. Triple H comes out and says that he didn't forget about Legacy and he didn't forget about RKO, and he also forgot that he's beaten them before, and he can do it again with a little help from some friends. Break it down! Shawn Michaels, Road Dogg, and X-Pac come out, and D-Generation X rides once more. Minus Billy Gunn, of course. This sets up an 8-man tag for Money in the Bank of D-Generation X, Triple H, HBK, X-Pac, and Road Dogg taking on the NWO team of Edge, Balor, Cody, and Orton. NWO pick up the win when they injure the Road Dogg Jesse James. NWO brag about this on Raw, but Triple H reminds them that they forgot to study their history books, and he picked up the phone to someone who knows all about the NWO. In fact, he knows them rather well. And out comes Kevin Nash and the Clique ride together once more. At SummerSlam, it's another 8-man tag as the Clique of Triple H, HBK, Waltman, and Nash take on the NWO, this time represented by Edge, Seth, Balor, and Orton. And this time, the Clique stands tall. Triple H on Raw says that while beating Edge, Seth, Balor, and Orton was fun and all, they hold something that he holds quite near and dear to his heart: the WWE Championship. He talks about what the belt means to him, the amount of times that he's held it above his head, the amount of times he's seen people crumble under the pressure of holding it. He's seen people who have held it for clout while knowing that it always made him a better man. And to see that symbol, that logo of a group made famous in another company, a company he worked so hard to kill, and is being held by a man who ran away to create another company, a company that he worked really hard to try and kill, brings his piss to a boil. He challenges Cody Rhodes to a match at Payback 2024, one-on-one, no DX, no Clique, no Evolution, no NWO, just me and you. I did that the wrong way around. At Payback, Triple H becomes the 15-time world champion, beating Cody Rhodes to win the WWE Championship. At Super Showdown in Saudi Arabia, Triple H defends the title against Finn Balor, HBK in his corner, Orton in Balor's. And as the match is nearing its end, Hunter is distracted by some music playing. We walk alone, wearing on to the victory. It's the theme of the Nexus, and out walks Wade Barrett wearing the black t-shirt with the yellow rectangle with an N in the middle, but this time the N looks slightly different. He's flanked by Bron Breakker, Dijak, Tyler Bate, Wesley, and Ilya Dragunov. The new Nexus, the NWO Nexus. HBK gets in the ring to back up Triple H, but then super kicks his friend in the face. Balor covers and wins the WWE Championship. The NWO, now with the NWO Nexus, stand tall. Nash comes out to help but gets beaten down. Waltman comes down to help but also gets beaten down. Triple H is alone once again. NWO Nexus open up that week's episode of NXT. Barrett highlights that everyone talks about the good old days of the black and gold brand, but no one ever gives these new guys their flowers, just like they didn't with the original Nexus. Triple H shows up and says he wants one more War Games match in the home that brought War Games back to the mainstream, and he's assembled a team of the best men who have held NXT Gold over the years. At NXT TakeOver War Games, it's Team Hunter of Damian Priest, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Tommaso Ciampa, and Johnny Gargano versus the NWO Nexus of Breakker, Dijak, Bate Lee, and Dragunov, and the NWO Nexus win. And that brings us to Survivor Series 2024. It's a gigantic 16-man tag team elimination match that takes up basically 2/3 of the show. It's Team Hunter of Triple H,
16.
Damian Priest, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Kevin Nash, Sean Waltman, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa taking on the NWO of Shawn Michaels, Balor, Edge, Orton, Cody, Bates, Rollins, and Wade Barrett. Rollins pins Triple H in the final two. He's beaten Hunter again, and his guys have beaten Hunter's guys. Triple H, looking for another shot, asks for a tag match at the Royal Rumble. Seth agrees, but only if Triple H doesn't pick anyone he's teamed with over the last year. Triple H accepts. Ha ha ha, Rollins laughs. You've exhausted all of your friends, Hunter. Your Rolodex is done. Triple H says that Rollins is right, and that's why he's turned to an enemy. At the Royal Rumble 2025, it's Seth Rollins and Finn Balor of the NWO taking on Triple H in a street fight tag match alongside Cactus Jack. NWO win again. Triple H just needs one more match though, and Rollins grants him that rematch with one condition. His career must be on the line. At WrestleMania, inside Hell in a Cell, Rollins pins Triple H one more time, and the King of Kings must retire. Triple H leaves his boots in the ring, and the NWO Nexus run down to attack him, but Rollins pushes them off. The rest of the NWO run down and brawl with the Nexus, and that spins off into an NWO versus Nexus feud through to the summer. Triple H's retirement match puts over about 16, nearly 20 people, and gives you the storyline for the rest of the year. Surely it's what he wants. Plus, it's a perfect Triple H booking storyline because, he got to team with all of his friends, he won a bunch, he won the world title, and he got to do a War Games match, so I think that's everything you'd want to do, really.
What did we just watch?
That was
a lot.
That was a lot. What is the NWO Nexus?
The NWO Nexus, the NWO.
You're right, Michael.
Oh my gosh.
I need to lie down. I'm going to start with some positives. So, I like the fact that it involves various different factions from Triple H's history.
It's kind of.
Like the involvement of Evolution, then the involvement to DX. So there's some positives.
I think that sucked.
I gotta admit, every time I heard him say the NWO, I couldn't picture the NWO.
Yeah.
The famous NWO, obviously, with Cody Rhodes and Edge.
Cody Rhodes and Edge.
Yeah.
But I
Also,
was struggling to picture that.
It's so determined to give fan service
Yeah.
that it's almost ticking off different faction names, regardless of whether there's any.
It's fan service. There's no logic. There was fan.
Yeah.
Oh, you remember NWO? Oh, you remember Nexus? Or how about NWO Nexus? Oh, here's the Winged Eagle. You like this belt? We did a little survey. Like everything is just like a big old member berry pie of just nonsense that doesn't make sense. And then you can't have the NWO. And then the NWO is wrestling the Clique, which the Clique is the NWO because that's who is the NWO is Kevin Nash. And most of these guys, I guess we're living in a fantasy world where they can wrestle, I suppose.
Yeah, that was one of my concerns. A concern that it involves a lot around with all due respect, the old timers getting in the ring. A lot.
It's it lasts 2 years. It
up
involves
to 2025.
Yeah, there's 2 War Games.
Yeah, Triple H becomes a full-time member of the roster.
It's a
it feels like.
16-man Survivor Series.
Yeah.
And there's an NWO where none of the members have any connection to the NWO. It required 3 people to turn heel. So you got Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, and Edge all turning
NWO.
Yes.
to form
form
a
the
faction
NWO.
that they have no history of being a part of.
Well, you know, Dusty Rhodes was in the NWO once, I think.
So we have questions.
I don't even know if I have questions.
Luke's got work to do here. I think that's reasonable to say. Sounds like he's got some talking to do to talk you into it, Michael.
And we've got an emphasis on the fantasy with fantasy booking.
Oh
Yes.
my
I
God.
would say
So let's, should we bring them in?
Yes, I
And
would love
I'm
to.
sure we have questions for both.
Yes, I would love to discuss it.
Yes. All right, Dan and Luke have joined us now. Thank you both for taking the time to book this scenario. We're going to talk to Dan first because this was the first video that we watched. And at what point did you decide just to completely rehash SummerSlam 2013?
Well, quite early on, because I decided it was going to be Triple H's greatest hits the whole way through. So it's not just a rehash of 2013. You got Montreal is in there. You got.
How many times has Montreal been rehashed?
You join in.
Sorry, what?
Don't you join in?
I'm just agreeing with the great judges here that Montreal has been rehashed quite a few times.
No, it has many times, but once more on the way out can't hurt anybody. Itself, it was a pastiche and homage. It was pointing to. It was a reference thereof.
You've shoehorned Cody Rhodes into that role,
Yeah.
even though he doesn't really fit into it.
White meat babyface, kids love him, adults love him, everyone loves him, and you know about this anger streak. Like to me, he's quite well controlled.
That's an excellent point.
I'm going to destroy you. So oh my God, what's wrong with him? I'm so nervous. Cody has been held back and held back and held back and held back, and even back to the old days, I put in a line about being a cog in the machine. He's been pushed back and pushed back and pushed back and pushed back so many times that he's just kind of snapped and lost it a little bit. We've all had that moment where we break. It's a dusty finish. It's personal at that point. That's where I was
That was a
going with
nice touch.
Yeah, we were definitely taken on an emotional roller coaster for sure.
We had a couple of questions about the later stages.
Explain to me why Gunther is not choosing Roman Reigns.
Why would Gunther's character...
Longest reigning Intercontinental Champion in history.
He
Probably
was the
longest.
NXT UK champion for like
Longest
over
reigning,
1,000
probably
days.
it's the same with like the Progress. I assume he probably had a long reign.
Probably.
Atlas. Why would he not think to go and look? Oh, that long Roman Reigns reign. I'm gonna be the one to end that.
Stop shaking your head.
such
over
a
in the
good
corner.
point.
I fully take that point. It's on his brand of Raw. That belt is there. That's the one that he should go for.
Voice just cracked a little bit.
That's because I've not had water in a long time and I suddenly got very dry.
The reason for someone to do it would be because there's some kind of emotional charging there, which Gunther's not an emotionally charged.
That's true.
person.
However, I don't think that belt has any. Currently, it doesn't actually have that emotional charge. Like, not many people are who, like, other than like.
I mean,
perhaps,
with the wrestler who holds it,
Sure.
like someone winning that.
yeah, Christ, I've booked myself into a corner and I don't know what to do with that.
What is the Heat Seeker? Has anybody?
It's MJF's finish or signature move. So it's a
The
point.
pile driver thing?
Yeah, when he's on the ropes.
Oh,
so
right. Are you aware that injured my neck for a year?
I did not know that.
And that's in the story?
Um,
Okay.
Ooh, make a note of that.
Well, you know what? I'll give you some respite, Dan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's give you a breather, because although there are some logical flaws in what you've been saying here, if we're talking about logical flaws,
Yeah, Luke.
I'm assuming 10 out of 10, no notes.
okay, we'll start from the beginning.
Please do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great place to start, Dave.
Yes.
I'm Mr. Bradshaw, so it's a wonderful place to start.
Thank you. I appreciate your feedback. We're starting with a scenario here in this very long storyline, which lasts a couple of years.
2 years.
And requires Triple H to rejoin the roster.
yeah.
Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes and Edge will all turn heel
Oh, yeah.
to reform
You say reform.
Reform.
a faction that none of them previously had any connection to in the NWO.
Cody does. Yeah, his dad was in the NWO.
There it is. Remember when I said that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was joking.
I didn't think
I was
he
saying
would.
it as a funny haha.
Yeah. We have a lot to ask you, but
And I look forward to it.
Just on this beginning section, just talk us through what on earth you were thinking.
Well, okay, so I thought if I'm booking Triple H's retirement, the one thing he's really going to want to do is beat the NWO.
So that's
That
it.
makes
Who is it
sense
for?
now you
I
put
was
it
going to
like
say,
that.
who is this for?
Triple H.
Okay.
And the fans will enjoy it because it's a bit of nostalgia. The fans will enjoy it. Who doesn't love the NWO?
You'll forgive me if I've forgotten some of the details, but
It's okay.
But-
It's okay, Dave.
as this,
So many details.
as this proceeds, we end up with several other factions.
Oh, yeah.
DX are involved at one
yeah.
point. The Click, which is sort of the NWO or DX anyway.
That's like the
not
WWE
really,
version.
but
Well, Triple H was never in the NWO. So
a version of the Nexus,
yeah.
in which hardly anyone involved with the Nexus.
Wade
So
Barrett.
he came with the Nexus,
Yeah, so he formed a new version of the Nexus with new NXT guys.
and it was called
NWO Nexus because they had a big N on their T-shirt, and now it's got the
Yeah.
NWO
Okay,
version
see
of the
that.
N
Yeah.
on the T-shirt.
So your booking is very T-shirt led.
I'm business led.
Okay.
I'm thinking
What's
about
best for business?
It's what's best for business.
As I wrote
It's an
many times.
excellent point,
Yeah.
Nina. If you don't mind me saying, it's a wonderful point to add to this.
I can't with this man.
You got a lot of something in your nose. Some little brown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It smells delicious.
Oh my god.
Rose is up in here.
I can't with you today.
I need someone else to ask a question.
I did really appreciate Seth Rollins being a part of it because they've had their on-screen feud, but as well with Seth being the first ever NXT champion. I appreciate that. I thought that was a great choice for an opponent to retire him.
More so than
that.
Cody, actually.
I thought
Yes.
thematically it made so
Yeah.
much sense for it to be Rollins. Cody never came into my mind at all, because I thought that's a nonsense idea for his final match.
Yeah, because Cody and Triple H have no shared history.
Well, they have one WrestleMania match in my story, but it's not the end point of it. That's not that's the midpoint of phase 2. And I thought Sean's probably a step too far.
No, because you wouldn't want to take any of this too far.
No, Dave, no. No.
Yeah. As you know, I'm a connoisseur of earlier pay-per-views.
Oh, yeah.
Due to my advanced years. And
And your excellent wisdom.
thank you, Luke. The early Survivor Series, if you remember the first couple of them, they had 5 tag teams versus 5 tag teams. From the hard cam view, you literally cannot see into the ring because there's people everywhere. How are you going to allow anyone at home to see anything that's going on in your 16-man tag team match?
Double ring.
Michael, I know you had some very strong views on this. I don't know if you've got any more.
Not just
Questions.
pain, just my head. On my head, I was just like, I was watching it, and there was a point where I was like, "Is this a rib?" But you were saying it with such a straight face that you were like, "This is good."
I thought if you're going to do Triple H's retirement, he's probably going to want to do several things.
Yeah.
Beat the NWO, win the title, hang out with his mates. And I sort of, tick, tick, tick.
The Click beats Evolution.
Yeah. No, Evolution are on Triple H's side. The NWO. If any one of Triple H's teams loses, it's the NWO that beat them. It's always against the NWO.
It's always against the NWO, so the NWO keeps losing.
No, they win sometimes. I think if you look at it, it's probably 50-50 booking.
50.
Do you think there's any remote possibility that by then you might have lost the audience?
Ask Roman Reigns.
Most Roman Reigns.
Good point.
I think there's something I'm not seeing or hearing.
So at this point,
Right.
Business.
you each we want you to keep it well under a minute, ideally 30 seconds. Just tell us, without being interrupted, why we should choose you.
It's all about the game and how you play it. And with all the adrenaline in my soul, I feel that you have the old sort of face of the company, the last bastion of the Attitude Era. Stone Cold got injured and left. The Rock went off to Hollywood, but Triple H was always there, never wavered, never left away against this new legacy, pun intended, of wrestling, of which Triple H venerates. The prodigal son left, revolutionized the industry, comes back. It's a parallel story. They're basically the same type of wrestler, but this one for a new generation. It's a torch passing to propel Cody into superstardom. I feel it's the greatest hits of Triple H, but right at the end there's a new hit which is creating a new star.
War Games. This is tag team street fights with Mick Foley.
Oh my god, I forgot about that!
DX reforms, Click reforms, the NWO are back, NWO Nexus, we created loads of new factions, loads of new main roster stars. 2.5 years worth of story right there. And it's, and I really do think there's no holes to be found.
This is like when it's like when I was back in school and I've done really hard on my homework and he's rocked up on the last day and been like, "How's this?" And the teachers have gone, "I can see your point." He says it with confidence.
On delivery.
Alright.
And you know, just to use up the because there was no interruptions as we had previously agreed upon. But there would be, you know, a 16-man Survivor Series match.
Yes, we are aware of that. A period of silence from both of you would be very welcome. While we also
wrestling.
Come on, cheer up, turn that throne upside down. We're going to have a bit of quiet contemplation ourselves, and each of us is going to write on our boards here which one of you we think should go through to the semi-finals of Fantasy Booking Warfare. All right, we've all made our decisions. Nina, what are you thinking?
So both very, very different storylines, but I went with one that I, as a fan, would want to see, that I felt like took me on an emotional roller coaster, gave me like what I want in wrestling, and I've gone for Luke.
Wow. I think that Luke is a very nice man. And I think that you've tried hard to provide lots of fan service, and I respect that. I do respect that.
And I respect you.
Thank you, Luke. And
It's already written down.
Dan, I think that you've sort of gone with the brief of a Triple H retirement and written a Cody Rhodes story, not a Triple H story.
fair.
You also spent the first 2 minutes of your video with toilet paper on your head.
Yeah, I didn't know if we should address that. It was a hot day, and it,
So again, there are problems.
that's absolutely fair.
However, one of these booking scenarios vaguely makes sense, and the other one is completely batshit crazy. So I've gone with the one that makes sense. Dan.
Boring.
Which means the casting vote goes to Michael Oaken.
The most praising of my
The most of what?
the most praising of my story as well.
Famous
most
such a fan, yeah.
I was getting warm and sweaty while watching certain stories versus another story. I was trying to wrap my head around what was going on and also like what was gonna happen next, and it just kept adding more twists and turns. Versus just a story where it's like, all right, here's where we're going. Here's what makes logical sense. Here's what my 4-year-old son Colin could understand. Let's go to Mania and watch this show. I'm choosing the one that made me think I need to watch this to know what's going to happen next. So I've chosen Luke. That's why.
You've done what?
Chosen Luke. Because
I did not expect this!
Because I was like, well,
Also, I want to hear another fantasy booking story from Luke. I'm not gonna lie.
I was like,
to keep complimenting
I miss Nexus so much. He mentioned the wing dingle. It's just before my time, but I get to see it.
It's now customary to hear from both the loser and the winner, so unbelievably, the loser is Dan Layton. Dan, any words?
I mean, there are none. He's used them all.
Yes.
We'll just have to build some new stars, and then we can do more faction warfare. And look, if we want to see it, we want to see it. Like, fair play. I'm happy being the underdog on this occasion.
Luke, you won?
Yeah, well, you know, was it ever in doubt, Dave?
Any words in victory?
You know, sometimes just brilliance comes to you, and then you know, it ends up pulling out your fingers and out your mouth, and then it leads to votes and victory. Commiserations to Dan, obviously, with it was a very credible effort.
These things happen, I guess.
I've completely lost any sense of reality, so we'll end it there. Thank you very much to both Dan and to Luke.
Thank
Luke,
you.
we will see you in the semi-finals.
Thank you.
Dan, I'm so sorry.
Thank you very much.
Somehow, the sheer ludicrousness of Luke Owen was enough to extinguish the hopes of Dan Layton, as Luke now joins Ollie Davis in the semi-final. But before they do battle, we must learn who will make up the other side of our semi-final bracket. Tune in next week to find out as we continue Fantasy Booking Warfare!
Do the hook, let's do the playmaker.
I agree there.
Okay, well,
Okay, I think we've heard all we need to.
You didn't say that, did you?
hear.
So I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, I think we've heard more than we need.
Yeah, we got a lot.
This is horrible. I thought
Yeah.
it was going to be much nicer.
All
Did I
right.
get 3 Simon Cowells?
I love the business, so that's where you've gone wrong.